God, does my mundane obedience make any difference? I don't know how else I'm supposed to obey and serve you. Please don't ask me to add another thing to my plate. These questions have gone through my mind and heart more times than I can count, and I'm guessing they sound familiar to you too. We know God has us on this path for a reason, yet it can be so hard to understand how anything we're doing for Him can possibly bring Him glory. How could our mundane acts of obedience really make any difference at all? That's where the little book of Haggai comes across our path. In this book of the Bible, God reveals the truth behind our mundane obedience. The truth that we do not make our obedience glorious. He does. The truth that some journeys might never make sense to us, but God is working behind the scenes and will glorify His name regardless of what we see as the outcome. This 3-week Bible study of Haggai has brought renewed joy to my daily acts of obedience, and I pray it will for you too. We're going to read about exiles' return to Jerusalem, focus more on their own comfort than on obedience. We'll read about their repentance and desire to walk with God regardless of their fear and uncertainty. And we'll read about how once they began working on the temple ruins, their obedience looked as nothing to their eyes. And that's when God came in with encouragement. He promised them that not only was He with them, but He would make this temple more glorious than the last, not by the work of their own hands, but by His power. Isn't that just like our mighty God? He doesn't need our small, mundane acts of obedience, but He uses us. He makes our daily tasks glorious through His power. Travel with me for 3 weeks through the chapters of Haggai, where we will discover a message about God's glory in the midst of obedience. This little book of Haggai holds great value for us, women living in the 21st century, as we learn the beauty of obeying God, first in our hearts, then in our motives, and finally in our actions. God teaches us how the journey of obedience looks like following Him even when we don't see the end of the path. He encourages us that when we grow tired from the monotonous steps each day, when we grow worried that others have passed us on the path or that we haven't come far enough today, that He is still with us, guiding us and providing for us. When we follow faithfully each step of God's direction, even when the steps feel simply ordinary, He will bring us to a destination we never could have reached on our own. And what could possibly be mundane about that?